As I said, I'm Ali Lowe, run Lowtek Games. Most of you know me already. I've got a lot of slides to go through, so I need to go quite quick. I've been in the games industry for 10 plus years. Here's a bunch of stuff I've worked on. This might not go good. Yeah, I'm going to talk about homebrew games today. These are homebrew games. These are new games made for old systems. The most common ones are NES, Game Boy, and Dreamcast, because you can publish to them without having a modified system. So my game is a homebrew, Flea. This is a bootleg, just someone made a pirate copy of Dig Dug. Some people confuse these two, but just get that in your head. There are other demakes that are based on other IPs that are ported down. These are really good and stuff, but they're a grey area, and I'm not going to talk about them much either. There is a whole bunch of WYSIWYG editors now available, so you can make old games in a kind of editor Unity fashion. You can go down the hardcode route if you want, and there's quite a good community out there for it. But yeah, I use these. I do like sharing stuff on forums and stuff. It's really good to build communities, solve problems, and kind of future-proof your solutions, because just Discord chats kind of get lost in Google search down the line. So it's good to have your Discord stuff and then post it on the forums afterwards. Hey, okay. And then I'll look at this instead. And then, yeah, go into the all those things. You build communities, and then you can go events and meet really cool people. I went out of sync there. I'm going the wrong direction. Yeah, so most people start off with a demo, and then I wish I would have adjusted this earlier, and then they make sure the game is good. So show it off at play parties. Not every game does need a release in this community. There's a whole bunch of tech demos just to see if it works, and yeah, some people can't get that in their heads either. But once you realize your game is good, people want to go down the funding route. Most people go Kickstarter. We did have a chat from Kickstarter, and there was a homebrew in the first presentation as well for those who were there. It's good to start off with a press kit, just any project in general, but if you're doing a Kickstarter, it's good to have stuff that you can copy paste, just images and stuff, build up a bank of screenshots and stuff. If you learn anything from me today, it's when you release your game, send your press release to this email address, and it'll get sent to all of the press people, and it makes your life a whole lot easier. This goes out every day to just press. So yeah, I ran 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns for new NES games. People ask me, how do you manufacture an NES game now? AliExpress is really, really good. They've got some really good molds for some new shells and stuff, so shells are easy enough. Then you'll need a cart flasher. They come in for all the different types of systems, and it's all usually command line software to flash the stuff, which is a bit annoying. Then you get the actual boards. The boards are you can make them yourself, and you can make really cool stuff like the slow-mo one, but I would recommend against it, because unless you know exactly what you're doing, it can be a big rabbit hole. So there's some off-the-shelf options now that work. This one was the only one available when I started Flea, but then that one became available, and it's just much better. I realize I'm really looking away from the screen. Yeah, for boxes and stuff, you can do it yourself. You can find a local print shop and kind of troubleshoot that, but again, it's time and effort. Or you can talk to Frank in America. He seems to do everybody's boxes over in America, which is crazy. Also, when you're doing Kickstarters, I think this happens across platforms, disciplines as well. You'll just get random private messages saying, I can do this thing cheaper. And it's good to kind of keep an eye out for these, but try to not burn any bridges with the people that you might have already made deals with. That kind of happened with me during Flea. Broke Studio just kind of cold called me and says, "Yep, we can do it for X price and have it shipped and stuff." She's like, "Yep, that sounds good to me." It takes all that off me, and now limited run games are kind of a bit more open to indie stuff. They were kind of bigger stuff before, but they're accepting stuff now. But the wait times are a bit long for those guys. Here, this guy from Brook Studio, and if you can recognise that's the Nether Inn. He came here to get married because he loves Scotland. He's based in France though. Which is really good for Brexit stuff and the postage. So it's good to look for places to port your games, but try to keep the quality high. I remember when I was at high school, a guy on a bus gave me a burned disk that said NES games, and it ran on the Dreamcast. And then I was like, well, that's probably an open source project. It was, so we modified it to make it easier. It had a permissive license for what we want to use it for, and that led to Ross, who met at Ninja Kiwi. We made this thing that makes it easy to port your NES game to Dreamcast, and then because of the license, it had to stay open source, and now there's been many other people who used it to port it as well. Then that goes down the rabbit hole of actually getting CDs manufactured. There's duplication versus replication. You can read these better than I can. And I'll have a little rest. But yeah, well, there we go. Burned ones, these collectors don't really want these that much, even though they're the kind of more like homebrew style. They want the pressed version, which is much more costly and needs like a much larger print run. Other people were thinking, why don't you go to like companies like JoshProd? They were doing a whole bunch of Dreamcast stuff. They wouldn't touch anything less than 16-bit. So I did it myself for the first run just to test the market, and sold it pretty quick. Numbered them all myself and stuff. Then I met the guys at Wave at a convention, and they helped do a press release. And they're also pretty good at marketing. They like working with other people is really, really good when you're kind of on your own to help boost your stuff, and then you can shout about them as well. We did the same with bringing stuff to Steam, but it had a weird license, so we can't do any like Steam SDK stuff. It gets it out there, but at the same time, the Steam community, it's not for retro games. So itch is much better than Steam in this area. And they do have like actual tags for NES game, Game Boy game, and as the other ones grow up, they'll be there too. The prices for this kind of stuff is around like $10 per game. They're constantly on sale and stuff. That's the kind of prices for physical versions. We did also port Playdate, Tapeworm over to Playdate, and we got on Catalog, which is pretty good. There's currently no way to emulate NES on Playdate. There is this online, but it doesn't work, and he can't send you it. But we did have this amazing guy, Valdir Salguero. He was the guy who programmed the game, and he managed to get the game working like in an evening from the NES code to the Playdate. The Playdate has the same vertical resolution as the NES, which is really cool. So we can just get away with adding bars to the side, and yeah, it means we can just do 1-to-1 on the images, so there's no like weird dithered patterns. You've got complete control over what to do. If anybody wants to do a NES to Playdate port, I recommend you do this, but that's highly unlikely that that's going to happen. Modern console porting, I just went through Ratalaika Games. Is this on like an auto thing or something? I'd seen their back catalogue, quite like their stuff, and I had heard whispers that they had an emulator kind of ready to go. There's also this company, I'm not going to even try to pronounce it, but they've got a nice like Unity-based thing and they've got some nice front-end menus. Also can lead to like spin-off things in HD universes and stuff. I like going to conventions and fairs, showing off this stuff. Is it going to go? Yeah, you meet a whole bunch of cool people, and you never know who you're going to bump into. There was one time, my voice was a bit like this again. I had low energy, and a guy came along, and he was a writer for Nintendo Life, and that's how that happened. And if I would have packed up early, I wouldn't have got that. I've been in a whole bunch of other magazines as well because of stuff like that. Sign up for all the things. New stuff coming up. The Evercade was really good, a new handheld console. I liked their marketing campaign. That led to being on Indie Heroes cartridge 1 and 2. We're getting close. And then some merch deals down the line, and my game getting in Argos, which was really cool. Then some merch stuff. Print on demand is really good. It's kind of low effort, and like you just get money when someone buys stuff. Not many people do though. So, and in the retro scene, there's like people like streaming services like Spotify, whatever, for retro games because they're really easy to stream and run on low-end hardware. Flea was 4th most played 1 month on their system, which is pretty cool. And then they added Flea right next to Pac-Man on their big banner that they take everywhere. So again, they're like advertising me everywhere they go now, which is great. Jam GJ, they're like the other one, but they're a bit crap. They do pay up front though, which is nice. Do try community bundles and stuff. It's good, like you all kind of like grow together. You've got like connected marketing, and like when you make a sale, like all your friends make a sale as well. So it's really, really good. And Itch has got a good thing for that. So now Tapeworm is on 9 platforms, 2 streaming platforms, and it's coming to these 3 things as well. For contracts, I've got only a couple more slides, come on. They can be a bit scary and stuff. I'm not a lawyer, and sometimes it's not worth hiring a lawyer for the amount of money you might be getting. But in the case of like Evercade, it's sometimes worth it just for the free marketing that you get from it. Like I would have happily paid them the money that they gave me to get the amount of marketing I did. But get friends and stuff to look over your stuff. Don't sign an exclusive deal, and make sure there's a clear opt-out clause in case anything goes wrong. Thanks, and I do have the pop-up book with me if anybody's welcome, and I'll try to set it up at the back of the room.